I'm Jono. ChimeraOS versus HoloISO. Let's see which actually boots clean.
The console appliance and the unofficial clone. One was built around 2019 because a standard computer should boot straight into games with a controller and feel like a console. The other was built in 2022 because the official handheld operating system was not available as an installer for other hardware, and someone repackaged the recovery image to make it one. One has 8 core contributors, maintaining an appliance where shutdown sometimes reboots instead. The other had its original version declared dead by its developer in 2024. ChimeraOS and HoloISO, the living room project that predated the official handheld by 2 years, and the clone that launched weeks after it. Both community funded, both small teams, both serving users the official system was not designed for. One is active with a sustainability question, the other is legacy with a maintenance gap the community has already answered by recommending something else. ChimeraOS began around 2019 under a different name, with a premise that predated the official handheld. A standard computer that boots into a controller-driven gaming interface with no desktop to navigate. Renamed in mid-2021, 8 core contributors, 10 testers, 34 community members on the communication platform. Donation funded through a collective contribution model. Joined the Open Gaming Collective in January 2026 alongside 2 other gaming Linux projects. Moved to the upstream compositor in 2025, dropping a custom fork to reduce the maintenance burden. The troubleshooting wiki documents the known limitations openly. Interface lag on one graphics manufacturer's hardware. Wake from sleep failures. Power management bugs where the system reboots instead of shutting down. A specific handheld model that cannot suspend or reboot correctly in any mode. When the disk fills, the browser, terminal, and gaming interface all become inaccessible simultaneously. Adding non-platform games requires unlocking the immutable file system with a terminal command. The companion web application handles many non-platform game operations without terminal access, including third-party store integration and emulation setup. The terminal command is the fallback for cases the companion application does not cover. The product delivers the console experience on supported hardware. The edges of that experience are where the limitations appear. HoloISO launched in 2022 weeks after the official handheld. The developer took the official recovery image packages and built a bootable installer for standard hardware. Not a re-implementation. The official packages with modifications to run on devices the company never tested them on. A technology publication headlined it as the official system without the official device. The architecture was authentic because the packages were the same. It was fragile because staying current required the solo developer to track every update the company shipped. The update failures began in January 2023. Dependencies missing, system stuck on an old snapshot. October 2023, the same failure. Update could not complete. Build date unchanged. Early 2024, the developer declared the original version dead. A publication confirmed it. The immutable replacement became the new direction, but by that point, the community alternative built on a different foundation had matured into the primary recommendation. May 2025, users asking for help received redirections rather than troubleshooting. October 2025, a thread described the project as effectively dead. The emulation platform that integrates with the other distributions fails on this one because the tooling has moved past what the project can support. The maintenance comparison is the decisive difference. ChimeraOS shipped version 48 in March 2025 with new hardware support, compositor fixes, and connectivity improvements. The project joined a collective with 2 other gaming projects in January 2026. The development is active. The team is small but producing releases. HoloISO's immutable version exists, but the maintenance pace is significantly behind every other platform in this comparison. The update lag means the compatibility layer, the compositor, and the kernel fall behind what the active projects provide. Games requiring newer versions may not work. The rollback comparison favors neither platform strongly. ChimeraOS provides image-based updates without a user-accessible rollback, equivalent to the official system's button combination or the community alternative's terminal command. HoloISO's immutable version provides a similar image-based model without rich rollback. Both platforms leave the user in a more difficult recovery position than the two platforms earlier in this comparison. The hardware comparison favors ChimeraOS. The project supports living room computers, handhelds, and has actively worked to expand its device compatibility through recent releases. HoloISO's hardware compatibility has drifted as the project fell behind on kernel and driver updates. Hardware that requires recent kernel support may not function on the older packages the project provides. The use case comparison reveals that the two platforms serve different purposes despite both targeting non-official hardware. ChimeraOS is a console appliance. It removes the desktop entirely and presents only the gaming interface with a companion application for non-platform content. HoloISO is a clone of the official system. It attempts to reproduce the official experience, including the desktop mode that the official system provides for general computing tasks. For a user who wants a living room computer that feels like a console, ChimeraOS provides the more focused experience. For a user who wants the official system's exact experience on unsupported hardware, HoloISO provided that historically, but can no longer guarantee, the packages remain current enough for newer games and hardware. The funding comparison reflects the sustainability gap. ChimeraOS receives donations through a collective model and joined a broader gaming project collective in 2026 that provides governance support. HoloISO has no visible funding structure or collective membership. The difference in organizational support correlates with the difference in release frequency and community confidence. Someone building a dedicated living room gaming computer on hardware from the preferred graphics manufacturer should use ChimeraOS. The boot to gaming experience, the controller first interface, and the companion application for non-platform games provide a console-like experience the clone project cannot match in its current maintenance state. The sustainability question is real. The project is active. The team is small. The collective membership in 2026 improves the outlook without eliminating the concern. Someone who previously used the clone project should evaluate whether the reason for choosing it still applies. If the reason was authenticity to the official system itself now supports more devices, and the community alternative provides the gaming interface on broader hardware with active maintenance. If the reason was a specific hardware configuration that only worked with the clone's packages, verify whether that hardware is now supported by the community alternative or the official system's expanded device list. Someone choosing between the two platforms in 2026 should understand that the comparison is not between two active competitors. It is between an active project with limitations and a legacy project whose community has migrated elsewhere. ChimeraOS is maintained, releasing updates, and participating in the broader Linux gaming collective. HoloISO's immutable version exists, but the development pace and community support do not match what the active alternatives provide. Someone evaluating both projects' contributions to Linux gaming should recognize what each represents. ChimeraOS demonstrated that a console-like gaming computer was viable 2 years before the official handheld proved the concept to a mainstream audience. HoloISO demonstrated that the demand for the official experience on other hardware was real and urgent. Both projects influenced the ecosystem that eventually provided better maintained alternatives. Both contributed to the 5% milestone that Linux gaming reached in April 2026. The project that built a console experience around 2019 and the project that cloned the official system in 2022 represent two approaches to the same underlying goal: making Linux gaming accessible without requiring the user to think about the operating system underneath. ChimeraOS achieves this through an appliance model that removes the desktop entirely. HoloISO achieved it through reproduction of the official experience. One is active with 8 contributors and a sustainability question. The other is legacy with a maintenance gap the community has answered by moving elsewhere. For the living room, ChimeraOS remains the focused option on supported hardware. For the clone experience, the community has already provided its recommendation, and it is not HoloISO. The active project has a future that depends on its team. The legacy project has a history that contributed to the ecosystem. Both serve the community. One still does.